Halloween Candee is a 2025 film directed and written by Douglas A. Plomitallo, and we have a cast including Molly Gazay as Liza, and I apologise if I've mispronounced any of those names. And this is actually really good fun. Some of it's a little unrealistic in places, but as long as you don't take it too seriously, I think you'll really enjoy it, and it could be a turning point for me. And if this does something significant for me, I will be forever grateful, because ordinarily, historically, I don't like horror anthologies. I just don't care for films where we have multiple little stories, even if there's a strong overarching narrative, which is the case here. But actually, I quite enjoyed this. So, going forward, I might make more of an effort to watch horror anthologies and horror collections, because this proves that I actually have the potential to quite enjoy multiple little horror stories. The main overarching narrative is about a writer on Halloween, and she's constantly going to the door to see various trick-or-treaters, and then we see her writing, and then we see these stories come to life, and there are various different stories, and yeah, some of them are a little bit not the most realistic with how they play out, but they're good fun, and they're really enjoyable and really entertaining. And then the main narrative, the overarching narrative, it has quite a sinister turn as well. So not only do we have a horror aspect with the main narrative, but I'd say each of the little stories are quite good fun. They're quite different from each other. They all have a strong horror or Halloween theme to them, so that works really well. The characters are okay. I don't think Liza is necessarily the most interesting character, but I don't dislike her. I absolutely don't dislike her. Absolutely no problems. I guess I just never connected with her as much as I wanted to, and I'm saying that as a writer. And usually when we have writer protagonists, I want to connect with them a little bit more, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my overall enjoyment. We do have a lot of Halloween and horror images. There's blood, we have pumpkins, obviously we have trick-or-treaters wearing masks and costumes, and all of that just makes it visually really quite delightful. There are a few small things here and there that are maybe not the most realistic, but in general, as long as you don't take those elements too seriously and just enjoy the main narrative and the stories within the story, and also the Halloween imagery, I think you'll find it to be quite a fun and enjoyable experience. It's not that scary. I know a lot of people like to watch scary-ish films at Halloween, but they're not big horror fans. But if you're kind of in the middle there, if you are looking for something a little bit suspenseful, but you don't like really scary films, this is probably a really good middle ground for that. And there are a couple of moments, probably in the final third of the film, where actually it did feel quite intense. Not terrifying, but there was a nice amount of suspense there. And as I said, this could be a turning point for me, because I haven't tried watching a horror anthology in a very long time, because I don't like that kind of film. But this proves to me that that is possible. I can enjoy it. And going forward, I'm going to make more of an effort to watch at least a couple more horror anthologies or collections or stories within stories, and maybe things will change now. That could open up a whole new type of film for me, and if that's the case, I'm very thankful for that. So fingers crossed that goes well, but I'm pleased to say Halloween Candee is an enjoyable film. It's a little creepy, not terrifying, visually quite appealing. The performances are good, the characters are decent enough. Some of the scenarios maybe don't play out in a way that's completely realistic or believable, but I don't mind. With this kind of film, I'm not looking for 100% accurate narratives. I'm just looking for good fun, Halloween imagery, and a nice amount of suspense. And on those 3 points, it really delivers. So at the end of the day, I rather enjoyed it. And also massive credit for being released now as well. I say this as a year-round Halloween fan. Obviously, at Halloween, we do get a lot of spooky films, but I prefer it when we have more horror spread throughout the year, and the fact that this was released, it was released in February in the States, and in the UK, I think it was only very recent, within the last couple of weeks, correct me if I'm wrong, but either way, it's released significantly sooner than I would have expected for this kind of film, and I really appreciate that, because I need this kind of film year-round, and having watched it, I can say I'm quite happy with it. Halloween Candee is quite a joy. And if it sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I would say it's definitely worth watching.